Hey guys, here we are. First ever live. So who we got on board? Josh Homan, hey man, good to see you here. Got 6 people in so far, so hey, start asking questions. What would you like to know? What's happening out in your world? Now, I'm hoping this is all going to work right because yeah, we had a last minute panic change of laptops because the microphone in my laptop was not working. I'm hoping this one's working. Can you hear me, guys? Yeah, not getting a lot of responses. Yeah. Ah, here we go. There's Mrs. Kiwi in the background, keeping an eye on me. Hey, Dickie Farley. Hey, man, good to have you along. Cordell B, welcome along. Jason Fitch, afternoon Kiwi. Yes, it's kind of evening here, but hey, close enough. Right. So yeah, it was an interesting exercise getting this thing up and running. Yeah, a little stressful. I'm George Kakula. Good evening, man. Robert Meyer, welcome along. Yeah, it was a little. You know, I'm used to doing it with Tony, and I just kind of rock up, and he hits one of the buttons that I never paid attention to, and suddenly we were live. So I had to actually figure it out for myself, which is when it's not a car, I'm a little bit slower on the uptake. I have to be honest. You try swearing at the computer. No, I tried to kind of keep my shit together because yeah, that's a little too easy for that to happen, Jason. So yeah. Roy Miller, hi, welcome along. Oh, Dr. Art's in the house too. Well, that's very good of you to join, huh? Alrighty. So I'm just having a quick coffee, make sure I stay awake through this thing, and then it'll be on to, you may see to my right there, there's already a bourbon chilling, ready to go. How's Big Richard coming along, Dr. Art? Randy B, great to see you, Mustangs. Did you like that thumbnail? That's the old KSV 9000. Actually took that out the other day for the first time in way too long. Oh, Dr. Art, did your grandbaby arrive, did it? Did it, they, her, he? Redneck 5356, how's large Marge? She's good. I've just been so busy at work. We just had a bunch of cars through. I mean, you probably, if you've been watching the videos, you'll see that we've had a lot of different cars in, and it's just really hasn't left much time to work on Marge, although I'm hoping I might be able to give her a little bit of love this week sometime. Now, what have we got? Have you, Jason Fitch, you ever see a Ford B150? No, I have not seen a Ford B150. No, do enlighten me. What is that? Is it like a cab over version or a? George could call it. My favourite bourbon would have to be Angel's Envy. It's just a really nice, smooth bourbon. It's nice on the rocks, you know. And it's actually, it used to be quite expensive. It used to be like $100 a bottle, but it's come right down, which is nice. Yeah. Alan Trimble, please hit the thumbs up button. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Holy Carmods, how's the Falcon? Do you have any plans for any videos? Yes, I do. Again, so busy. I've got to actually just get on the phone and order these springs from, I can't remember the name of the company now. I did find a company and I've got it all in my emails. I've just got to, get on the phone with them and you know, not be on the phone. Like today was crazy. Like with the short week, it's like people had to jam in all of Monday's phone calls and all of Tuesday's phone calls all in today. So it was a little hectic. So yeah, videos on the Falcons. Obviously when I get the springs, we'll do all that, putting the springs in, and you know, new shocks and that kind of thing, and take it for a drive. I don't think I've done a drive along with the Falcon yet. Jason Fitch, it's Ford's version of the Suburban, was only built in Mexico and Brazil. Hey, that'd be a cool truck. That would be cool. Maker's Mark, 0% liberal. Yep, Maker's Mark's a very nice drop as well. We've got several bottles of that brewing away in the alcohol cupboard. Just aging away nicely. We visited that their brewery, their distillery, and it's quite cool. You go in there and you get your own bottle and you dip it. You get the red wax on the top. You do that yourself. It's kind of quite cool. Don Bella, small business isn't for the faint of heart. No, you're right. As someone once said to me, like have your own business. You can work any 24 hours of the day you choose. So yeah, it has its benefits, and it's like most things. It's yin and yang. There's good things and there's not so good things. What do we got? Richard Stanbury, is it possible to source new safety glass for cars from the 40s or 50s that didn't originally come with it? I'm going to say probably not, no, because it's a different manufacturing process than laminated glass. So when you say safety glass, I assume you're meaning zone toughened, the stuff that shattered, like your side windows that shatter into a million little pieces. That's actually that is a good safety glass, because it shatters into a million pieces and you'll get a few nicks and scratches from it. But if you unfortunate enough to go through a laminated screen, it'll cut you to shreds. And people have found out the hard way. What else we got? Kiwi SM. Hi Kiwi, just joined. Sorry if you said this before, but as an Aussie, what made you move and set up shop in America? Obviously, being an American car nut, I've kind of always had a little love affair going with America, and I visited a few times and kept applying to the green card lottery, which was an American government-run thing, where you just go online, put in your details, and your name was drawn out of a hat to be able to apply for a visa, like with preferential treatment. So my name came up, and it was like, it was a little bit Groundhog Day in New Zealand. New Zealand's a beautiful, wonderful place. It is, but it's quite small, and there's lots of adventures to be had in other parts of the world. So the opportunity to get to America legally, not sneak across the border, came up. So we grabbed it with both hands and ran. And yeah, here I am. I'm an American citizen now, of dual citizenship, so I haven't given up my Kiwi, my New Zealand. So and then moved from Austin up to Tennessee, following my wife's very generous job offer, so which was very advantageous for me, because that gave me 6 months to set up the shop and get it running to a point where there was a bit of money coming in. So I owe her a lot for that, for sure. So all right, what else have we got? Jason Fitch, when I was insuring it, Haggerty did a Google search and wound up looking at my truck in Mexican Speaks video. I'll bet they did. I had no idea they made such a thing, so that's cool. Dickie Farley, he was awesome. Thanks, man. Team Lemon. Laurel Flynn, sitting here having a bit of lunch Wednesday in New Zealand. Well, of course, yeah, it's a day ahead in New Zealand, so. Caudle B, live in Bardstown, Kentucky, born and raised. Good for you, man. Caudle B is Creighton. And, okay. Where did that? It's Creighton homemade lemonade. What's that, bourbon? I bet it is. Dan M, enjoying the collaboration with Kevin Teds. Yeah, it's Kevin is a good friend of mine, and we've been friends since 2012. That's a long-standing friendship that I met Kevin on the set of Search and Restore, which was a TV show from way back. And yeah, we just hit it off, and we've been friends. He's been helping me over the years. I've been helping him over the years. And yeah, he's just kind of new to YouTube. Well, he's he's had videos out for a long time, but at a very, very small scale. It was just a little bit of, he was just never really got it cracking. And then he made a connection with Derek from Vice Grip Garage, and did a couple of videos with him, and his channel just blew up. I mean, he just went past my channel subscriber wise like a top fuel car. Like, God. So, but he's a fantastic presenter and very polished, and and just as nice a guy as you could care to meet as well. Very generous of his time. He's awesome, dude. Hey Kiwi, ever hear any news about the red 69 Z28 that was sitting out behind my shop? No, never did find out what happened to that. It left kind of almost as quickly as it arrived. That one was totaled. Unfortunately, no, not a thing. Tim Miller, new 302 30 over 202 Edelbrock top end, got stumbled with new Holly 4060. The jet, Tim, what jet sizes to use in that? I mean, typically the stumble is not usually caused by main jets. So it's probably more accelerator pump. You may need a little more, and you may also need a little less accelerator pump. And obviously your ignition timing plays a big part in it. And that's a very hard thing to kind of try and diagnose, over the internet. You really need like your hands on the car, to feel exactly what it's doing. A stumble can present itself in different ways. That is a little tough. Typically, though, the carburetors come out of the box fairly fat, so you could go a little smaller. They jet them rich to be safe, on the safe side, because they don't want you leaning your engine out and melting a piston and then screaming to Holly going, "Look what you did!" So you really need. I can't be a lot of help to you there, Tim. I'm sorry, not over the internet. Sorry about that, man. S&M, thanks for the response. That's awesome. All right, let's see. I've got to do this thing. Trying to keep up with the questions. Well, I've got 61 guys on. That's cool. Robbie Autry, hey Kiwi, that sure was an awesome video you did of that private museum. Yes, it was. I guess it's not open to the public. No, it's not. Yes, actually, no, that's cool. That Impala with the Starline, someone said it was off. It wasn't a Starliner roof. It was off. It was a Mopar, like a Plymouth Fury roof line. And thinking back, it actually kind of could have been. Not 100% sure, but that was a neat conversion, and well done. That was really well done. CW, thanks, man. You enjoying the feed? Cool. That's good. Alan Trimble, Kevin Tets is Canadian by birth. Yes, he is. Of course, he's not required by law. Yeah. I mean, so that's a Canadian thing, huh? I've only met a handful of Canadians, and you're right. They're all been good guys. Right, what else we got? Dickie Farley. Don't know if you remember Kiwi, but I don't have the Kiwi emoji, just the lemon. That's why I put it on. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I'm not sure where you find that kiwi fruit emoji. Okay, what's Zonda to be? Is 74 Duster considering an electric compressor with its AC? Have you had any experience in adding them to older cars? The electric compressor, no, I have not even laid eyes on one, I'll be honest with you. What I have read on them, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It will work on an older car, no doubt, but obviously you're going to need a big enough alternator to run it, because they will pull some juice. Like, have a look and see what the amp draw is, and and that will help you choose a suitable alternator. That's if you're considering the electric style. Done a lot of AC on older cars. That's almost coming compulsory now. like everybody wants AC in their hot rod, especially in places. Well, a lot of America is pretty hot. You get up into that. Once you get over about 85 degrees, you need AC in your car just to make it more pleasant. And that's the whole thing is we need our cars to be pleasant to drive. It just makes you want to get out in them more often. It makes your partner, your wife, your girlfriend, they're happier to get in it when it's cool because they don't like sweating and having their makeup running down their face because it's 105 inside the car. AC is pretty much standard equipment on hot rods these days. What else have we got? The V-Man. Hey Kiwi, shame you don't have any P76. Yeah, I would. Man, I only remember as a kid seeing P76s, and yeah, it's been a long time since I've actually seen one in the flesh. But I'm hoping to catch a car show in December when I'm back in New Zealand, and hopefully, maybe there might be something there, which would be cool to do a video of because the American viewers just not many of them even know what a P76 is. It sounds like an aeroplane, but it's not. Chopper 650, Kiwi from Taranaki watching, bro. Love your channel. Well, thanks, man. I grew up in Hawera in Taranaki, so I'm with you, man. In that little wee town of Hawera with 10,000 people. That was that was a while ago. Dickie Farley, Kiwi is not a whinger nor a wobbly, he's just a Kiwi, mate. Really, do you love the show? Kiwi as a body and paint guy myself, I'm really impressed. Yeah, well, I guess paint. I can paint. I'm not. There's better painters around than me. Body wise, yeah, that's my wheelhouse. And the worse it is, and the harder it is, the more I like it. The more crazy custom it is, the more I like it. Danny, do you have any help at your shop? Just a little bit. I have Steve who comes in the afternoons from 2:30 to sort of 5:30, and that's it, man. But good help's incredibly hard to find. Help that doesn't end up costing you, as much money as you make out of it. That's the thing. Often, it's harder to make money out of stuff than what you might think. Right. Robbie Autry, did you put electric steering on large Marge? No, I did not. I did look at that, but honestly, the steering box in Marge is really not up to the job. I did think about it. It made a certain amount of sense, but the steering box that's in it is pretty worn. It's quite notchy. As you're turning the wheel, it's clicking away. It's worn out. So that's probably the next thing to do on Marge. Actually, I've got the kit. I got a conversion kit, which replaces the original manual box with a power steer box and all the pulleys and brackets. And I'm hoping it's going to be a lot better than that conversion we did on that Buick, that 56 Buick, which was a nightmare. Might even start that this week. But we'll see how good it is. It's from a different supplier. And hopefully it's good. But if it is, we'll give them a shout out. If it's not, we'll give them a shout out too. Kiwi, when are you going to have merch available? Man, yeah. Good question. Fair question. I've met with the guy to do it, and I've just got to okay some artwork for it. And what I'm thinking of doing is getting Kiwi Kev t-shirts. Oh, Kev here, that way. The camera's all backwards. That's weird. Kiwi Kev here on the shirt with some artwork. With instead of back legs, he's got drag slicks and smoking his wheels, and a large Marge Censure t-shirt. And the artwork's there. I've just got to sign off on it and give him the numbers and go. So, but yeah, the last probably 4 weeks has been very busy. Eric Upcave, the Kiwi. Will you do an A conditioning video someday? Yeah. Well, I've got a couple of AC conversions to do. So yeah. Yeah, so that's going to be a video coming up for sure, definitely. Chris Cadman, AC warms a car in Canada. Yeah, well, yeah, I believe it does get pretty cold up there. Yeah, who else have we got? George Cook made it. Good on you, mate. Welcome along. Tim Miller, AC pumps are street rod type are good for Mustangs. The ones like I've done, as you can imagine, I've done a bunch of AC on Mustangs, and they typically use a Sandon compressor or the pump. They're quite compact, quite efficient, easy to mount. So yeah, that's the kind of the go-to compressor. Dan M, it's an interesting business. You're lucky to have carved it out. Yeah. Someone once said to me, how did it go? Good luck is where hard work and preparation meet. And there's I've been in the shop 12 years now, and it's been a lot of fun, but it's been a lot of work as well. And I really feel like I'm kind of reaping that now. We've got a lot of different varying makes and models of cars. It's never dull. It's really never dull. While there is a lot of Mustangs, if you watch the channel, I'm sure you see, Chevelles and Mopars, and a while back there we had a REO truck in there, an REO Speedwagon truck. We get a little bit of everything. Mike Rainville, what's going on with the Hemi? Absolutely nothing. Tony was going to build that, but that all kind of all those plans got turned on their head. So I have, my mind has kind of started leaning towards maybe prepping the Hemi for Marge, for large Marge. So I was going to put it in the D100, which I ended up selling to Dr. Art. So I don't have a home for it right now. But it's also a nice piece of jewelry to have sitting around. So I'm not too upset about it. But it was. I found it really interesting that you guys, voted like unanimously almost to keep, the big old school 318 in Marge and just bore and stroke it. So I don't know. There's just the Hemi has such a cool look. You open the hood and you're always going to get a reaction. So Chris Cadman, bourbon time. Yeah, well, it's very close. I've got to work through this coffee and then I'm into the bourbon. Robbie Autry, it's an awesome video you've been doing on replacing the floor in that Mustang. Is it cheaper to go that route or just buy a whole new body? We did, for that car in particular, we did look and we did the math on going with a whole new body. And really, if you were going back for that car to be in like a stock format, like stock suspension, or essentially stock, better shocks and springs or whatever. But that, the shock towers, the leaf springs in the rear, if you were going back with all that stuff, then we would have gone, with a replacement body. But the customer wanted wheel tubs in the back, so you'd have bought brand new wheel tubs and a brand new body shell and cut them all out. He wanted the Mustangs to fair front suspension, and he wants to put a Coyote in it. So the Coyote means the shock towers have to go. The Mustangs to fair front suspension means a lot of stuff gets cut out and thrown away. So we were going to buy a new shell and then like throw away a third of it, and it's like, that really didn't make a lot of sense in that situation. So like the main central floor pan is like $500 odd bucks. That rear section was, I think, with the rails, about $1,000, and then the whole Mustangs to fair front. Now this sounds like a lot, but you do get a lot for it. Is like $11,000 or $10,995. But that's the subframe connectors. That's the front chassis rails, which the car needed. It's all the front suspension, the rack and pinion, the steering, the brakes, everything. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I've got a video coming out tomorrow where we dropped the whole front off that Mustang. We cut the firewall out under the cowl, around the sides, and just drop it. And it's quite a cool video. Steve was helping me do that, and it kind of blew his mind. Like I was like, yeah, just cut it here and cut it there, and hammering and chiseling and grinding, and in a fairly short space of time, the whole front clip was just laying on the ground. So watch out for that tomorrow night. Laurel Finn, do you feel the tube channel is bringing in extra work? It is bringing in extra work. It's more and more people come in and say, I've seen your videos, and so it is bringing more work. But the burnout thing is that's a thing for sure. But I'm just having to get a little bit more selective these days, and it's just become exponentially busier around Nashville because there's many people coming in from the places like California, bringing in big California money, and bringing in their hot rods. So there was a time 3 or 4 years into opening the shop, if you saw an out-of-state phone number, you didn't typically bother answering it because it was going to be a scammer or somebody like that. Now, 60% of my phone calls come from out-of-state numbers, and 80% of those are people living in Nashville, with out-of-state phone numbers. There's so many people come in. CW, smoking wheels on a Kiwi sounds nice. You'll get one? Okay. Well, I've just got to get out of my own way and make the time. I'm not, ask Mrs. Kiwi, should you? I'm not very good at getting things done all the time. Like I get in my own way, and I get caught up in, cutting the front off a Mustang, and then next thing you know, it's 5 o'clock and I haven't done what the things I needed to do. So procrastination is a fault of mine. I'm sad to say, but Dickie Farley, I'd go Hemi and Marge. Yep, it's definite potential. PB Vauxhall, g'day Kiwi from Whangarei. Love the videos and your work with Kevin. Do you still support? Do I? Mate, I was there watching it live at an Irish pub on Saturday morning, and we got robbed again by the damn referee. Lost again to South Africa, and we were leading for most of the game. But do I support the All Black? Absolutely. You cannot. You can take the boy out of Kiwi land, but you can't take the Kiwi out of the boy. Dale Fountain loves my content. Well, cool, man. Thank you. Josh H. Scuba Steve sticking in for the long haul. Yeah, I think so. That's a good little number for him. He gets to do a little bit on his car and use the shop, and it gives him a little bit of variety, and he's a good dude too. He's another guy I've known through the same TV places that I met Kevin. Steve was working there way back 12 years ago, and I met him there. And he's worked for me before in the past, and he went off to do another job, and he's kind of come back in part-time because he works just down the road from me now, finishes at 2:30, so he just he drives a couple hundred yards and pulls into the shop and gets stuck into it, and he enjoys it because there's always something different to do. He's either driving the camera or making a video, or he's driving around the block with me, somebody's car, or he's cutting up a rusty Mustang, so it's never dull, and he's a hardcore car guy. He just loves, messing with cars, talking with cars, anything. He's a good dude. Robbie Autry, Hemi and large, Marge Kiwi, eye candy. Yeah, it is eye candy. You're right. John Orkowski, hey man, welcome along. Nick Hendricks. Hey, Chris, really enjoying the content and catching up with what you're up to. Well, it's good, man. I appreciate it. I mean, yes, I make a little bit of money. I'm not making Tony money. I'm not making Vice Grip Garage money, anything like that. But it's a little bit of pocket money. It pays for a few things here and there. But I really do it for the fun of it. It's fun seeing your feedback, getting your guys' feedback, the comments that you make on the videos. And I really like it when I get those comments that say, hey, that really helped me out. Or because I really, it's fun to teach people, and this is a hobby that we're involved with. I'm doing it as a profession, but it's a hobby for all the people that partake in it. And if I can help them out, that's great. If I can help them make it a little bit easier, and they stay in the hobby, or they decide to get a second one because they I've shown them how they might be able to do it, then I'm a happy camper. So it's good. I like it. What do you got? Don Ballett, what Irish pub? The Irish pub is called the Lost Paddy. It's in Nashville, fairly close to downtown Nashville. Great pub, big atmosphere. Man, the place was stacked. It was a Kiwi or New Zealand South Africa rugby game, and the only Americans in there were the people behind the bar. The place was packed with South Africans and Kiwis, and yeah, when the South Africans went into the lead, man, they about took the roof off. The place went wild. It was great. Even though we lost, it was great to be there and part of that atmosphere. Because when Kiwis love their rugby, man, the South Africans, they really love their rugby. John M. always loved the 71, 72 Mustangs, like the blue one. Yeah, they're a little more polarizing than most of the earlier Mustangs. It's not everyone loves the 71, 72. For me personally, they got a little big and a little heavy, but still a good look. Still a good look. Like the fastback is a good looking car. Nick Hendricks. Haven't seen any rotaries from the old rally day. Nick Hendricks, is that Nick Hendricks that used to be on our service crew when I was rallying? Because we had a Nick Hendricks there. Is this one and the same? Because that's wild if it is. Not everyone would have known I used to rally rotaries. So, Joe Miller, love the video of your own custom Mustang. This was a SEMA project. Yes, it was a SEMA project. The KSV 9000, it was in Hot Rod Alley at SEMA in 2014, and it went over very well. And it really, it kind of got the ball rolling business-wise. It was a gargantuan amount of work in a short space of time. I was doing 12, 14-hour days, 7 days a week for probably 4 months before SEMA, just to get it there. And it was wild. We had the transporter, the car transporter was parked outside the shop waiting for the car. We're backing it out, and as we kind of backed it out a few feet, the front wheels were pointing different directions. Dive under with a wrench, and we're trying to get the wheels pointing more or less the same direction. Got it a little bit closer, stuck it on the transporter, and off it went. And it was just a massive sigh of relief. But that was a very special thing. Like getting a car into SEMA for me was like a massive, massive deal. And the amount of people that helped me to do that was very, very special. A couple of days there, we had like 11 people working on the car. And one of them, not including myself, but I wasn't on the payroll because I wasn't getting paid, but I had one guy working for me. He was paid to be working on it, and all the rest were volunteers. That was very humbling. It was a great time, and very disappointed when it came. When they finally last day came and they closed it, it was like, oh, now what? It was pretty special. It is Nick Hendricks. Hey man, how you doing? Gosh, it's been decades since I've seen you. Absolutely decades. We were young men back then. Very cool. Very cool. I did wonder a couple of times, like the name is familiar, but I thought, no, it can't be the same guy. But it is. It's cool. It's very cool. I'm going to be back in December, so yeah, I'm going to be busy. I'm back for 3 weeks, but let's if we can catch up somewhere somehow, let's do that. Yeah. All right, man. Now, Dickie Farley, funny you said you're a better body person. With me, I'm a better painter. That's probably why I like watching you. It helps me think about things to do with body work or what I could do. Yeah, well, there you go. There's always something to be learned, man. Always something to be learned. And it was actually Chip Foose's dad who made the quote that it's everything you learn after you think you know everything. Those are the things that count. And it's like, if you think about that, what he's saying, it's like, there's just always something to learn. Even when you think you've kind of got it down, then something comes up and you go, oh, wow, didn't think of that. So, no, I'm always open to new ideas and trying different things. And, I'm fairly good at what I do, but there's still more to learn. John M., those larger stands to me look like the World War II fighter planes. Okay. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, what do we got? John M. Not in John, sorry, Daniela W. Greetings from Wairarapa. Hey, welcome along. Good to have you. Good to have you here. Spike Pavlik, what glue do you use? Let's move. What glue do you use on the fender extension body bolts? It's not really glue. It's a dum-dum to make sure they seal on those bolts. If you use the right bolts, they come with a washer attached and like a rubber gasket behind them, but you don't always get those ones. I always put a bit of dum-dum around it as well, just to allow it to move a little bit and seal up. And the dum-dum doesn't. What you don't want to do is glue those in, because one day someone's going to have to take them out. And I know people have put them in with urethane and stuff like that, which is a very good glue. It makes it hell to get them off again. And it might be a long time before it gets restored again, but who's to say someone's not going to drive into the corner, or you're going to back into something and you need to get that corner, that fender extension off. So use dum-dum. It's made by 3M. Not everybody. I call it dum-dum. I think it actually goes by a different name here. I will try and remember to put something up about that. Post a picture of what it is. But I usually just buy it from like O'Reilly's or Napa. But you have to know what number to ask them, because if you ask the regular guys behind the counter, you'll get a fairly blank look. So Spike, dum-dum. Barracuda, best to be good at both body and paint, because if it doesn't look good, the painter gets the blame. Well, yeah, that's true. All the painter blames the body, man. There's always a bit of that going on, especially if it comes back with a little bubble or a little, sink somewhere, or some scratches that, show up after everything's, 3 months later. There can be a lot of finger pointing between body man and paint man. That's why a lot of places won't paint a car that they didn't do the body work on. So unless they really trust you. Dickie Farley, when you're doing door skins or something like that, do you still weld in things or use panel bond? I always tried to weld in everything I can. Yeah, I'm with you, Dickie. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of panel bond, not because there's anything wrong with panel bond. It's awesome stuff. But the cars I work on weren't designed for it. And I personally don't believe it's the best product for the age group of cars that I work on. I know people have glued on roof skins and stuff like that onto Mustangs and stuff like that. But where they glue the flanges and stuff, there's really not enough area. When the designers design the cars, design the pieces of the cars that go together and get glued together, they design them with areas, a little bit wider enough to put a good amount of panel bond on there. The process, from the first pencil to hit the page, is built around panel bond. But when they were, putting pen to paper on the Mustangs or the old Impalas or whatever, they weren't using panel bond. They designed them to be welded together. And for me, I think that's how they need to be rebuilt, be welded together. Alan Trimble, Dum Dum equals 3M cork and seal. Yes, you're absolutely right. That's the name I was looking for. Thank you, sir. That's exactly what it is. Tim Lynch come in with the same thing. Yep. Wayne Buzzell, hello Kiwi, nice to see you doing a live show again. Well, yeah, I enjoy the lives. I used to enjoy them with Tony, and I didn't want to just jump straight in like a week or two later and start doing a live, because all those wounds were a little fresh. And so I just stepped away from it for a while, and I've been thinking, let's do this. So I asked the question, Kev's taken a dive. I asked the question a few weeks ago, is anyone up for it? And I got quite a positive response. So it's bourbon o'clock, by the way. Cheers, guys. So I thought, let's do it. And so here I am. We've got there's 76 people with us right now, so that's a good number for the first time ever. So it's just getting plenty of questions, trying to keep up here. Where's it gone? Okay. PB Vauxhall, you're the man. AB's forever. We will get them this week. Hope you're right, mate. I really do. We were playing one extra man on that game last weekend, being the referee. He only seemed to be able to point his arm in the direction of the South Africans. But, I could have been being a little one-eyed, I guess, but John M, glad to see me back. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. Hopefully, what I'm wanting to do is get a few guests on there, like get Kevin Tates, get him to join me one night, because he's just like a fountain of knowledge, especially when it comes to anything paint. He's like a professor. If I can get him along, that'd be awesome. We'll have to give you guys a bit of warning, so hopefully you guys can come up with the questions that you have paint wise, because he's a better man than me to answer those. Dom Ballot, as an old Ford guy, I think your stuff's the best. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Yeah, cheers, Patches. Patches. I think I'm saying that right, Dickie Farley. Alan Trimble, cheers. It's been a bourbon o'clock for an hour or two here in Delaware. Yeah, I'm sure it has. Barry Cooter, being an all-rounder, did you do an apprenticeship in something or self-taught? Mate, I am self-taught. I've had my fingers on most aspects of things automotive. I guess just the creativity and the metalwork is really what drew me towards that. And some of that self-taught was necessity. Like I was a 17, 18-year-old with an American V8 car in New Zealand, which was a little unusual. I didn't have the money to pay anyone to work on it, so I had to figure it out. And fortunately, my dad was very car-orientated as well. So he worked in the automotive industry. So, he'd be able to pull in favours for me every now and again and get the ear of somebody, what was back then an old guy who knew his way around stuff. He could get some advice for me and stuff like that. So I'd learned a lot along the way. And it's a pretty good school, I have to be honest with you. Like, we see some of the guys coming through tech schools these days, and they're kind of book smart, but they're not very hands-on smart. Not all of them, but some of them. Junk Car Willie, love my work. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Chopper 650, Kiwi Ingenuity. Exactly. Yeah. That's not just a catchphrase. That's a real thing. New Zealand was so far away from the rest of the world, we had to figure out. You couldn't go to order parts easily unless you knew someone overseas to get them for you, and we had to make stuff work. Yeah, I remember I had a 66 Buick Electra, and the front drums were just, it had those aluminum drums in the front with a steel liner, and the drums were completely wildly worn out. And so now I didn't do it, but I got a guy to actually cast up some steel rings, then machine out the old ones out of the aluminum drum, and press and pin these steel rings into those aluminum Buick drums, because there was no other option. There was no other way of, like, trying to get them was just, you just couldn't do it from New Zealand. So yeah, that is a Kiwi thing. And then, because I went rallying, learned a lot about suspension and making a car work and handle, and why it works and handles as opposed to not working and handling well. So yeah, that's always stood me in good stead, and I do try and build a lot of that into the cars that I build. I'm not a fan of hot rods that don't work. I like if I'm building a badass Mustang, I need it to be able to stop, and I need it to be able to turn a corner, and that's how I built it. And yeah, that's a big deal for me. And it's like my Mustang, the KSV. I take people who rides in that, and they're amazed at the ride quality and the way it handles, the way it turns, points. And that wasn't a fluke. That wasn't luck. That was designed in. So yeah. Johnny, yeah, even up through the 90s, you had to read magazines or talk to old timers to get tech fix-it advice. Now you just Google. Yeah, well, YouTube, we're on YouTube now. YouTube is a absolutely fantastic resource. Every time our washing machine or dryer breaks or the microwave breaks, I get on YouTube and figure out how to fix it, and away you go. But there's always something. You can always find something about whatever the problem is you have on YouTube. It's crazy. Alan Trimble, it would be really cool if you could connect with Steve Dolchich. He lived in New Zealand for at least a few years. He's also a huge Mopar guy. You two should have a lot to talk about. Okay, haven't heard that name before, but is he over here now? Is he stateside now? What else have we got? Dickie Farley. Kiwi obviously has fine taste. He has a thing for America and American cars. Still loves where he came from. And he's a Guns N' Roses fan. Yes, I am. You've seen the shirt. Clearly, hey, who likes this shirt? I thought this was pretty cool. It's not merchandise. It's just one my wife got me off the internet. John M, fix my dishwasher with YouTube. There you go. Yeah, it's a thing. It really is. Yeah, if you've got any mechanical inclination, there's no reason you can't fix anything around the house. Oh, Alan Trimble lives in California. Okay, cool. Yeah, if I had any more details, I could maybe reach out to him. But yeah. Tricky Farley, it's cool. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah. But I love a stick shift. We call them manuals back in New Zealand, but you guys call them stick shifts. So. What's that? Stiff why? Steve Dolchich is a Motor Trend employee and sworn enemy of Uncle Tony. Oh dear. Well, look, I'm not. That's not me, but I mean, if he is that, so be it. Yeah. But yeah. So he's an employee of Motor Trend. Okay. Well, it'd be nice to get alongside some of those guys. It doesn't do any harm to your profile, being with people like that. Now, somebody said earlier, I didn't get back to it quick enough. Someone said they'd love to see me doing a a video with Vice Grip Garage on one of his roadside rescues. Yeah, that would be fun to do. And Kevin is obviously quite well involved with Derek now, so I'm hoping that might have a little bit of a trickle down effect. And who knows what might come of the future. We shall see. Barry Cooter, self-taught, initially just a painter. You can call yourself just a painter, but hey, I'm a good colour matcher, but that's hard. And I can't colour. Forget it. Colour matching, no, they just what comes out of the can goes on the car. And I've worked with plenty of apprenticeship guys who can't match. Yeah, it's pretty important. Well, I mean, certainly working in a collision shop or doing any touch-up repair work, you've got to be able to match colour. Some of the stuff now is amazing, the technology for matching colours. Computerized scanners and stuff like that is pretty out there. But I remember the days of that. The old you had that machine that kind of put a float down into the paint, and you'd watch. You'd add a few drops, and the float would rise, and would read a different number. And you know what I'm talking about, Barry. But it's come a wee way since then. Cool store 187. Lunch is over. Back to work. All the best from South Auckland. Cheers, mate. Well, thanks for joining while you could. I appreciate it. Okay. Dickie Farley, I guess that would depend. I call my 77 L82 Corvette a manual 4-speed. Yeah, manual stick shift. Both my kids had to learn to drive in a stick shift. That was the rules according to Dad. Which didn't win me any favours with them, I have to tell you. They thought I was being a bit of a prick, to be honest. But now they think it's pretty cool because none of their friends can drive stick. And like my daughter, she's, they all see her as being a bit of a badass because she can drive a stick. So, which embarrasses some of their boyfriends over the years because they can't. Oh, okay. Eddie Nicol. Hangs with Chris Birdsong and Freiburg. Okay. Yeah, well, they're movers and shakers, aren't they? They're the guys. They're the face of a lot of hot rodding. First saw G&R at the Orpheum Theatre in Boston, May of '88. G&R. What's G&R? I'm missing something there. You're going to tell me, and I'm going to go, oh, duh, of course. But yeah, I'm gone blank. Nick Hendricks, that Buick was awesome car. We had some fun. Yeah, we did, didn't we? We had some fun in that thing. I wonder if it's still around. It must be somewhere in New Zealand. I'm sure it hasn't rusted away. That'll be hanging around somewhere in New Zealand. It was too cool a car to be passed over in New Zealand. Dulcich is also an old magazine writer, laid back California. There you go. Yeah, I need to try and connect with some of the. Oh, Guns N' Roses, G&R, duh. Guns N' Roses. Yeah, told you I'd go. What the hell? Yeah. No, that was me having it. Yeah, too much bourbon. What are you going to do? Barry Cooter, I enjoyed the lacquer days, mate. Me too. That was so easy to paint. Enjoyed the lacquer days. When Acran came out, I got poisoned by getting it on my skin. That's nasty stuff. Nasty stuff. But yeah, lacquer days. Yeah, that was good. Alrighty. We're up to 82 people on now. Where's all the questions, guys? More questions. So Barry, are you still Barry Cooter? Are you still painting now, or what are you up to? Yeah. You guys have either run out of questions or my screen's frozen, one of the two. I'm not sure which. Nothing. Crickets. Oh, there we go. Josh, actually, let the chat in. We failed. No, never. No, it's all still going. Andy Nickel, we still use lacquer sometimes on guitars. Okay. It's very hard to buy now. At least here it is anyway. Yeah, the last time I painted a car in lacquer was like about 2011, I think. Painted an old 53 Lincoln Capri. And we were able to get some lacquer paint for that. Steve Dulcich has collaborated with Derek on VGG also. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, well, because Derek's kind of tied in with Motor Trend now too. He's got a TV show on Motor Trend, I think. So yeah. Dickie Farley, what do you think about nitro paint? I don't know anything about nitro paint. Is that a brand or? Not sure. I'm not familiar with nitro. Don's Manufacturing. How did you end up fixing the trans swap Gen 1 Mustang driveline vibration? Oh gosh, now which one was that? Now, yeah, I did have one with a driveline vibration, and that had the transmission cross member that drops the transmission down to make room, for the top of the transmission so it doesn't hit the floor. And to get rid of the vibration in that, we had to put a 3-degree wedge between the axle and the leaf spring to basically bring the pinion up at the front, because the transmission had gone down. So there was a mismatch in angle. So and you can buy various size wedges to go between the axle house, the spring perch and the spring on a live rear axle setup, a leaf spring setup, and putting that 3 I wonder if it was 3 degrees. It might have been 1.5 degrees. Gosh, I can't remember now. I've got a spare set. I got 2 of them in case I needed to stack 2. But we put 1 in, and man, it just disappeared. So that was a pretty easy fix. What I tend to try and do now with those 5-speed swaps is actually cut the Mustang cross member out and move it back about 3 inches, and that puts you can then get the transmission up higher, so your driveline angle doesn't change, and it also enables you to use the factory rubber mount. I'm not a fan of using those urethane mounts on the transmission. They tend to be harsh in any. Even if you've got no vibrations, you still tend to get a bit of harmonicking, just because the mount is so hard. Transmission mount doesn't do a lot of work. It really just stops the transmission wagging its tail, and it just gives it something soft to ride on. Unless it's a urethane mount, then it's like riding just about on steel. So yeah, I'm not a fan of those. If I can use the factory rubber mount, and I'll do it. Yeah, but it's interesting. There's a company called American Powertrain. Their setup is with this aftermarket cross member that drops the transmission down. And you go to like modern driveline, their recommendation for doing the 5-speed is doing what I do, which is cutting that cross member that goes up and over the transmission, kind of like a horse collar shape type of deal. And cutting, their recommendation is cut that out and move it back. It's surprising how much room that opens up, because it puts that mount over the narrow part of the transmission instead of like the bigger. The main bulky body of the transmission on the 5-speeds is just that little bit longer, and it ends up underneath that upper cross member, and that's where it wants to touch. So by moving that back, you move it over the tail shaft housing, which is where it's narrowing down, and it opens up a whole bunch of room. It's a bit more work, yeah, but as most things, doing it really right is always going to be harder. But you get the benefits in the end. The result. The juice is worth the squeeze. Now, how that was that one. Just Argyle Socks just joined. Do people still do hammer welding for bodywork? Yeah, I mean, I still do that when I'm needing to patch panels, and yeah, they still do it. It's not it's a dying art for sure. It's a dying art. It's quicker and easier these days to replace whole panels. But yeah, if you're going to do some welding, unless it's very close to some strong edges, if you're going through the middle of a panel, or you're replacing a lower quarter that's maybe 12 inches up, and you've got a section that long, you weld it through there, you're going to get some distortions, and because the weld shrinks, so you've got to hammer weld it to relieve the stress points in it. So yeah, you have to do it, or either that or you cave it in far enough that you can just pave it with mud, which is not the right way to do it. Now, stiff. I don't know how to say that. Stify. I can't believe you take the time to make videos and hang out with us when it appears you already have a very successful shop and busy life. I do, but yeah, I don't know. It's a little addictive, this whole YouTube thing. It's nice, it's fun. Doing things like this tonight is actually quite entertaining. It's quite fun. I mean, gosh, an hour's gone already, and I don't have a timeline on tonight. I was really just leaving it open, and probably 2 hours is a max. That seems to be, what nobody seems to go beyond that for whatever reason. But I wasn't sure whether we'd only have enough interest to keep it going for an hour or not. But you guys seem to be interested, so let's just keep talking. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate that you appreciate that I'm doing this, so it's all good. Cordell B, would it be possible to make some videos on maintaining a high-end car like paint care or similar stuff? That's not a bad idea. That's certainly maintaining paint, that sort of thing. That'd be good to get Kevin Tate's in on that, because, like I said, he's just a professor on that stuff, and that would be a good that would be a good video. I'll make a mental note of that. Hopefully, it sticks, and yeah, maybe because Kevin and I are going to do a little collaboration on the Falcon, because the Falcon's got so much rust stains over it from the salt air that it's had. So, we're going to look and see if we can't, Kevin's going to see if he can't figure out a way to clean some of that rust staining off it. I mean, the paint's failed in places, but the brown stain's about 3 times bigger than the little tiny pinprick paint failure. So we want to try and get rid of that brown staining. But yeah, maybe in that video we could include some, handy hints on keeping your paint and that kind of thing in pristine condition. Yeah. So yeah, would it be possible? Hopefully, yeah. There you go. There's your answer. Hopefully, we'll look at doing that. Andy Nickel, the lacquer now is not like the old stuff, not as durable and harder to buff. Lacquer's always been fairly hard to buff because it's very hard paint. But it doesn't scratch as easy either. That's one of the, with the two-stage paints and the clear coat scratches so easily. It's not that. The old lacquer was rock hard, man. But yeah, you had to get it sanded and buffed fairly quickly. You didn't leave it a long time to shrink because it just turned to stone and you couldn't do anything with it. Barracuda sold up, profited, moved somewhere cheaper, and I'm doing my own stuff for the time being. Good for you, man. I would like to do that. And I'm enjoying it right now, but I'm having trouble getting to my own stuff. That's part of the reason for doing YouTube. If I can spin YouTube into a little bit of coin, to allow me a bit more time on my stuff and still be able to make a living. It's part of the, kind of the goal with YouTube. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Now, Paul Sherlock, Canadian Shield 9mm. I love you, Kiwi. Well, thanks, man. What's the Canadian? I've seen you make that comment a couple of times now. Canadian Shield 9mm. What's that about? I'm not quite sure. Johnny M, as I always ask, what's going on with the Cougar Fastback? That's taking a little holiday. It's the gentleman that owns that has got a bunch of stuff going on with. He's basically got 4 car projects on the go, and the Cougar was one of them. The Cougar was just not as high priority as a couple of the others. So hopefully that'll come back. That's been one of those cars that's been a long process, that car, and it's gone away before and come back. It's gone away a second time, and all being well, it'll come back and we'll get it wrapped up. Curtis Randolph, have you done much work on the Datsuns, Kiwi? Oh, yes. Over 68 Roadster 2000, I'm looking to have the Solex carbs rebuilt. Ooh. I've actually got a 67 Datsun Roadster 1600. I've got what's left of it down the back of the pen. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that, but something might happen to it one day. But Solex carbs, I don't know who would rebuild those for you. I'm guessing you mean there's kind of 2 versions of rebuilt. There's rebuilt where you just put new gaskets and clean it, and then there's rebuilt where you bore out the throttle shafts and bush them and actually rebuild it, not just reseal it. A lot of people confuse rebuilding with what I call resealing. I do a lot of that in the house. Like car's been sat for a while and the float's sunk and the needle and seats aren't working properly, so you go through and you put a kit in it, you put a new needle and seat, you put all new gaskets in it, make it nice and clean, and that's really resealing it, not rebuilding. For actually being rebuilt in America, I just don't know. You just have to Google the heck out of that. I don't have a good answer for you on that one. Sorry, bud. Don Ballett, how do you straighten the shock towers in the front of Mustangs? I'm assuming they've kind of caved in. They have a habit of leaning in towards each other. Really, it depends a little bit why they've done that. Sometimes, it can be rust is making them weak and they'll move in. Sometimes it's the way they've been driven and, someone's tried to do Dukes of Hazzard jumps and the things, and that will make them cave in. Getting them back out, it's really, it's just a porta power. You just put a porta power between the shock towers and you just crank on it and you push them back out. Sometimes, you'll need to do some welding. If there's cracks, there's usually a reason they've come in, and there'll be either just overzealous driving, or the metalwork around there is compromised. You've got some cracks. The shock towers are quite prone down low, where they get close to the chassis rail. They're quite prone to cracking around there. And then some people, had this great idea of getting a blowtorch and cutting little holes down by the upper arms to access the grease nipples, which is a bad idea. Get the right fitting for your grease gun. You don't have to do that. So it's really the simple part is jacking them. Is just a porta power to jack them apart, but then you've got to get them to stay there. Now the export brace will help a lot. That's that diagonal one that goes back, a one-piece one, not like the early ones. Early 65 6s had two little very lightweight brackets that went back on a diagonal to the firewall, and then they had what they call the export brace, which is like 3 times as thick and way stronger. That can be quite good to bolt to the firewall, and then you jack the shock towers out until they line up with that export brace, and put the export brace on and bolt it down. But you really need to try and figure out, what's kind of given enough to let them lean in like that. And one of the tricks with porta powering them apart is you go too far. You take them till they're quite a bit further apart than they need to be, and then watch them spring back. If you pull the power till they're the right distance apart and then let it go, they'll spring back like half an inch each side. So you've got to overjack it, let them come back. That's and then if you can find some little find somewhere to put some gussets around the place. Some little bit of support, a bit of extra support, and the export brace, and that's kind of where you're at. Either that or a Mustang 2 and just delete all the shock towers and get rid of them. That's what I like to do, but it's not the cheapest way to go by a long shot. Yeah. PB Vauxhall, Derek as a guest too. That would be something. Derek's a guy that is very much in demand. So I don't know. We'll see that. I'm good friends with Kevin. Kevin's good friends with Derek. So we'll see where that goes. This is all happened fairly recently with, say, Kevin Tate's getting big on YouTube. Big-ish. I think he's up to 70,000 subscribers now. And he's working alongside Derek, and they're kind of bouncing off each other, and Derek's helping him a lot. And maybe I can, a little bit of that will trickle down onto me, hopefully. And I'd be happy to have him as a guest. I'd be happy to go on one of his road trip revival deals. And I'd like to do another one of those. That one I did with Steve, getting Marge, was. That was a very good week. It was a bit of a roller coaster. Like, we're in the car. At one point, I just thought we were beat. We weren't going to be able to do it, and we hung in there and got it going. And it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs, and it was great. I would not mind doing it again. We were lucky too. There's the way we did it. There was certainly no guarantees. Yeah. Now, Alan Trimble, please explain exactly what hammer welding is. I've read about it in a magazine years ago, and I've seen a few low-quality videos about it, but I still don't understand it. Okay. Let's see. Hammer welding. Well, you can't really hammer weld if you MIG weld panels together. MIG welding is very, very hard. You can a little bit, but it's not as effective, and you've got to beat the shit out of it, because the MIG weld beads that you run are very hard. Hammer welding works well with TIG welding or the old school gas welding, which really nobody gas welds panels together anymore. With that, why would you when you can get a TIG for not a lot of money? So the hammer welding works great with the TIG, and even the TIG, like there's a perception that TIG welding doesn't distort the panels at all. That's wrong. They do. You put enough heat to melt metal in the middle of some sheet metal, you're going to get distortions. So that's where the hammer welding is. What happens is that that you get a lot of heat in a very small space with the little stripe of welding, and it cools relatively quickly because all the parent metal around it is cold, or room temperature, and then that the heat from the weld dissipates out quickly into that, so it cools rapidly. So it's that rapid cooling that makes it shrink. So you get pulling, even with TIG welding. There's some fantastic TIG welders out there, and they keep it to a minimum. But for someone who's an okay TIG welder, you get distortion, and then that's just a matter of, because it's shrunk. You get a hammer and a dolly, and basically you hammer on the weld. And it stretches the weld, and it releases that pull where it's drawn the metal together and made it buckle. If you can stretch that weld out again, it allows the metal to relax and go back to the shape it was before you touched it with the welder, when it was just sitting touching. So yeah, that's, I don't know whether it's probably, I don't know if that's detailed enough for you, but probably something that again, another good subject for a video of welding a panel, watching it distort, and then hammering it and getting that release of that tension. And it's something you do. You don't just weld the whole panel and then you have this buckled mess, and then try and hammer the whole thing. You weld a little, hammer a little, weld a little, hammer a little, and but that's part of the reason it's a slow process, which is why with the cost of labour these days, it's usually quicker if you can buy a decent replacement panel to just replace a whole panel, because all that hammer welding does take time. It does take time, and time is more than ever. Time is money now. Parts are fairly cheap and labour is fairly high. So you don't want, you don't really need someone spending 20, 30 hours hammer welding a quarter back together. That makes for a very expensive repair. So yeah, there you go. Now, what else have we got? New F Dog 45. Have you ever heard of Targa Newfoundland? You should try it someday, mate. I have definitely heard of Targa Newfoundland. We have there's another event called Targa Tasmania, which is held in Australia, and there's also the Targa Rally in New Zealand, which is same concept exactly. It's a copy. Targa Newfoundland is based off Targa Fiorio, I think it is, which originated in Italy, I believe. And but yeah, great concept, a lot of fun. I did one in New Zealand as a co-driver in the Evo something or other. I can't remember now. Evo 5, something like that. Mitsubishi race, and we that same event had Jim Richards was racing a Porsche, and we were trading times with, not me, I was just a co-driver, but the driver was trading times with Jim Richards, so we were on it. It was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. Now, what else have we got? What else have you got at the back of the pen? Any early Fords or Willys? No. Back of the pen. Well, I got my 57 Buick, which Dr. Art did a very short video on, and he's since been busy to kind of get back there. That's an old 57 Buick two-door hardtop that I've got, which the plan is, time permitting, to get that going again. I used to drive it to work and back about 10, 12 years ago, and then it kind of got parked and got left a little longer, and 6 months turned into 6 years, and then 10 years, and so yeah, we dragged it out. Same time Dr. Art picked up the D100 truck from me, we dragged the Buick out, and I'm thinking to myself, I need to get that going again. And Dr. Art's got the D100 going, but I have not got the Buick going. So yeah. But what else we got? Got the little Datsun Roads to the back of the pen. Plymouth Barracuda. There's a few things sitting back there, but I'm trying to. Yeah, it's hard. I need more time for my stuff and a bit less time for customers' work. But the customers keep going, and I have a real problem saying no to people. Like I want to help them. I want to come and say, it's got no brakes and I can't drive it. I'll bring it in and we'll get it sorted for you. And I get a lot of those smaller jobs, and I have trouble saying no, because there's a lot of places around here, when they hear the age of a vehicle, if it's older than like 1990, they don't want to work on it at all. Doesn't matter what the problem is. They're like, no, we don't work on those. So I get a lot of referral work like that from other workshops all around town. They kind of, I don't know them, but they've heard of me, and he works on old cars, so I get people come to me all the time with it, and they're like, a lot of cases they're stuck. They can't find anyone else to work on. So I'm a kind of a soft touch like that. It's like, yeah, okay, I'll bring it in. We'll get it sorted somewhere along the line. We'll squeeze it in. But I'm kind of running out of squeeze room these days. It's good bourbon. Now, hang on. I'll scroll down a bit here. Barracuda, did you ever use Santano clear lacquer? It sprayed nice. Not Santano, no. It'll shine off the gun, but craze and turn to shit later on. Oh dear, no. Well, I'm kind of glad I didn't use it if that's the case. Oh, that would have been a beer to fix up, wouldn't it? There's nothing worse than crazy paint. Yeah, that's so hard to. You've got to get it well and truly gone. You cannot. No, you can't seal it with anything. You can't put anything over crazy cracked paint. That is going to lock it down and stabilize it again. You cannot do it. Don't try. Please don't try. If you've got crazy cracks or crazy paving in your paint, it's got to come off, and it's got to come off like at least a couple of layers below it. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean those cracks haven't started to continue down deeper into the paint. Now, Chris is saying, "Good evening, Kiwi. Is this going to be a regular live?" Well, I mean, I think so. Yeah, I'm up for it. If you guys, if you guys want me to, then yeah, I'd be more than happy to do this. Yeah. I mean, I'm enjoying it. So as long as you guys are, I don't see a problem with it. Don Ballett, Kevin is a great guy, almost as good as YT. Hang on, is that a typo or am I having a brain fart again? YT, who is YT? Sometimes I don't get these references. Long Island Mopars, I'm late to the party. What bourbon is being served? It is Angel's Envy, mate. Angel's Envy. The ice is melted, so, oh well. Curtis Randolph, would you be interested in buying a 68 Datsun 2000 for fair money if it was the right car? Maybe. Maybe. I mean, the one I've got is honestly not in great shape. So it would need to be in pretty good shape only because of a time factor. I mean, they're a fun little car. But what I don't need right now is another big project. So yeah, as you say, if fair money, I'm more than happy to pay fair money for the right car. Reach out to me. Just Google me. You'll see my email address and stuff and phone number or whatever. And email me or give me a ring, whatever you like. Dickie Farley, your live is doing great, Kiwi. You actually have more likes than viewers. Yeah, you're right. I do too. So I'm winning for a change. Yeah, it used to be the other way around in the old days, shall we call them. Andy Nickel, haha, it's pronounced Newfoundland. I thought it was Newfoundland. Okay, well, you got to learn something every day, don't you? You say Newfoundland to a Newfie, you're in trouble. Oh, really? Okay, that's the wrong thing to say. That's like asking a Kiwi if he's Australian. It's like, oh, no, I'm a Kiwi. But it works both ways. If you ask an Aussie if he's a Kiwi, some of them get a bit offended as well. But it's all good. What's the best way to get dark spots off paint caused by water bead? Typically, you need to buff it with a reasonably dark spots. So you mean like water spots, like the little ring you get from the water spot, or does the paint actually change colour? Because if it's caused the paint to change colour, you're not going to get that off. But if you're talking about water spots where that's just a little ring, then you've usually got to buff those off. So I'm not sure quite what. If it's actually changed the colour of the paint, then you're probably not going to get that off. Paul Sherlock, Canadian Shield 9mm. It's my train layout in 9mm gauge. I'm making Kiwi shop in 1/160th scale with your station wagon. Seriously? I got Uncle Tony in his Barracuda and DD in his Charger out front, Diorama. Really? How cool is that? That sounds awesome. 1/160th scale. That's small. With the station wagon. Mate, I would love to see that. Even see the progress on it. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you for doing that. It sounds great. All right. Cool, man. Alan Trimble, thank you for explaining the hammer welding process. I've been curious about it since I first read about it 40 years ago. I hope that explained it. It's something like that. It'd be good to explain it, and while doing it, and it would possibly make a bit more sense. But I mean, hopefully, it made enough sense to you that it's answered your question. YT is YouTube. Duh. Why did I not know YT was? Ah, dear. It's been a long day. YouTube. I even refer to it as YT sometimes. So it's like I should know that. Good grief. Yeah, I'm just trying to go back to that question. Now I've lost the question with YT in it. Oh, good Lord. Where did that go? All right, I was trying to find that question when it referred to YT. Kevin is a great guy, almost as good as YouTube. Right, okay, I'm with you, Don Bella. Yeah, almost as good as YouTube. Yeah, I mean, I think Kevin's really going places on YouTube. He's such a sort of consummate professional. You know, he's a great teacher. He's a great presenter, and he knows his shit, and he's humble. You know, so that's a good combination to have. Danny Boyd, American Graffiti 58 Chevy in the background. Yes, indeed, it is. I've got the whole set. I've got all the 4 cars. I've got this one, the 32, Milner's car, the black 55 that raced, and what's the other one? Good Lord. Brain's gone again. Yeah, but those, I had those for years. I've got one of, if you kind of, you can just see the yellow 30. Oh gosh, how do I do that? No, it doesn't work that way. The yellow 32 about there, and the black 55. Yeah. Long Island Mopar, Triangles MV Rye. I've got some Angels MV Rye. I want to make a Killer Manhattan. Okay, interesting. Roadrunner versus Godzilla. You ever come across any Datto 240K Skylines? Mate, if I did, I wouldn't be sharing them, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, they're very sought after now, aren't they? No, I have not seen one of those. Haven't even seen one come up for sale in the area. Because I'm always prowling the classifieds. That's kind of my my relaxation, before going to sleep. Like you just cruise the classifieds, see just what's out there, and you just do not see many of those at all. Barracuda. When I first started painting, I used Dulux Acid Etch Primer, which I found out later causes sterility. Wow. It didn't work on me. I've got a boy and a girl. Me too, mate. Cheers, boy and a girl. Yep. Can't keep the good Kiwi swimmers down. Yes. Yeah, painters painters tolerate a lot, man. And certainly over the years, I mean, they're a lot better on, protective wear, protective, respirators and all the equipment that you need. And it's recommended. They've certainly look after the painters a lot more now. In the old days, it was just like, just breathe it in. You got a headache, so what? Just take a Panadol or whatever and carry on. Now that they do look after painters a lot better. Andy Nickel, got to go to work. Lots of guitars to fix. Been fun, Kevin. That's cool. Fixing guitars. Nice. Danny Boyd, 32's up there. What else is going on? Come on, somebody throw up more likes so Kiwi can be at 100. 98, that's pretty close. I'm going to call that 100. Yeah. Well, if we're going to wind this up at 2 hours, we've got about half an hour, guys. So, yeah. Drink up. Long Island Mopar. You'll have to send me the recipe for that Manhattan, and I'll make it. I'll make a Long Island Mopar Manhattan. Yeah. Derek Deberjack, I'm late. Kevin, I'm late. I remember blowing my nose different colour every day working in the body shop. Yeah. Yep, been there, done that. Yeah. It's it's amazing what your lungs will put up with, or can tolerate, but it's cost a few people their lives. Some of that, breathing in some of that shit. But yeah. No, there's nothing like digging that Bondo dust out of your nose at the end of a long day mudding. Danny Boyd, Manhattan iced tea. 99. Oh, but we're up to 106 just like that. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Barracuda, under union rules, I was given a bottle of milk every day. That put some pounds on. Yeah, I bet it did. A bottle of milk every day. Yeah. Wasn't really going to fix it though, was it? Because you don't inhale the milk into your lungs, do you? Yeah, but I guess it lines your stomach a little bit. Oh, wow. When was that? That must have been some years ago that they did that. Chris Freemesser, welcome, brother. How you doing? Josh Homan, that is why water-based paints have become common. Yeah, it is. It's yeah. I mean, you don't get the solvent issues as much, obviously, with water-based because water is the solvent. But there's a little bit of it's like claiming that electric cars are clean and green. And the car itself, once it's made, is relatively clean and green. But the making of it is not so clean and green. And that's a little bit the same with the water-based. To make the water-based paints what they are is not a clean and green process. Applying it is a clean green process, but making it not so much. Yeah. Bondo dust will lift you up. I had a wicked sinus infection when I was young. Yeah. Yep, it certainly can. Oh, Woodford, Long Island Mopars just poured some Woodford. That's good drop too. Early 80s. Yeah, that's what I would have guessed around there. Yeah. I mean, I guess they were trying. They were trying to help you, so you can't knock them for that. But they needed to be a little bit more in depth than that. Oof, Dick Farley, have you ever thrown Bondo dust up in the air and lit it with a lighter? No, I haven't, but I've seen it done. And yes, it's extremely flammable. It's quite impressive. Quite impressive. Gosh, I remember. I can remember being young and like filling up balloons from the oxyacetylene bottle. and then lighting them. Whew, that would make a bang. Back when young and stupid. It's probably why I've got hearing loss today, but didn't think about it when you were 18 and stuff like that. Chris Freemasser, is the Tuesday chat going to be a weekly thing? Had no idea you were on tonight. I did a couple of days ago. I put out a post saying that I was doing it. Was it a couple of days ago, or was it? Yes, Sunday. Sunday, or it might have been Monday, actually. This long weekend screws me up. So I should try to give you guys a bit of a heads up. But maybe, probably didn't need to give you a bit more. But yeah, I'm going to give it a try as a weekly thing and just see how it goes. And yeah. So yeah. Yeah, see you back here next Tuesday. How about that? Yeah. Long Island Mopars. I remember Bondo dust when I was sculpting the quarter panels on my 64 Valiant convertible. Yeah, done a bit of sculpting over the years. Suit, you still have to clear it with solvent. Exactly right. Yeah, they have not been able to come up with a water-based clear. It's the durability is the issue. You just, and I don't know that. Shouldn't never say never, I guess, but I don't see them coming up with a water-based clear. I just don't. Don't care too. Nice noise chat. I lost some pain of friends with hardening of the lungs. Terrible. Yeah. It's not a nice way to go. It's kind of suffocate to death. It's pretty brutal. And once it really shows itself, there's not much you can do. Yeah, it's whatever you do at that point, it's kind of too little, too late. Paracuda full cream too. Well, I can't do full cream milk. We've got to have 2%. PB Vauxhall, really enjoying this, Chris. Cheers. Well, that's cool, mate. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Oh, what's on to be? I had lacquer thinners splash in my eyes a couple of times, being too aggressive on the pump handle. When I helped at a local body shop, ran to the foyer. I'll bet you did. That burns. Lacquer thinner's good on cuts though, man. If you cut yourself in the workshop, you get a little, not obviously, not something that needs stitches, but if you get one of those cuts that just wants to keep bleeding a bit, lacquer thinners, mate. Like, just brace yourself and get it on a rag and put it on there. A bit of lacquer thinners, and it stops the bleeding. It really does. My wife just has, because was a nurse, and she just has conniptions when I tell her about doing that. It's like, you can't do that. That's introducing poison, toxic, right straight into your bloodstream. And it's like, yeah, but it stops the bleeding, so it's all good. She's probably right, but yeah, that's the trouble with wives. They usually are right, aren't they? Any more collabs with Tets? Nothing planned at the moment, but there's a few, like hard plans. But yeah, it will be happening. Honestly, we just have too good a time. Like, I go down there and spend a day with him every now and again, when he's got a particular project on or a particular piece of work that I'm better at than him. There's lots of stuff he's better at than I am. So, it's playing to your strengths. It's not, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm better than him. I'm not. But there's some stuff I'm better at than he is, and vice versa. So anyway, there'll be more, but going down there and helping him out for a day is just fun. We just have a laugh, and it's a change of pace. It's nice to get out of the workshop every now and again and just have it be in a different environment, like those last couple I did. That's good. You kind of go home at the end of the day and you're not really, I don't know, somehow you're not drained. It's just, and you feel better the next day. So it's really quite therapeutic. I don't know. You guys may get that. I think it's a car guy thing. but yeah, getting away from the stuff that you're grinding on every day, is good. It's just kind of good for the soul. It kind of perks me up and gets me going again, and having that interaction with a friend for a day is just good for the soul. 115 likes, go Kiwi. Cheers, mate. Cheers, Dickie. Barracuda. I've had two friends who deliberately splashed lacquer thinner in my eyes. They seemed to think it was funny. Good grief, really? Wow. No. Wow. You might need to choose your friends a little more carefully, bud. I don't know what to say. No, that's brutal when you get it in your eyes. Mate, it's better. Like if you've got a little bit of residue on your hands and you do that, it's like, no, it's brutal. Tanny Boyd, eyes are no joke. What's honoured to be, I know. Very clever. I see what you did there. Mexican Spec, welcome along, buddy. How you doing? Danny Boyd, those friends would have got cussed out good by me. Yeah. Mexican Spec, I'm in another live where I am blue. Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad you're well, Mex. It's good. Hopefully we'll see you in here a bit more often. I'm going to keep trying to do them, and people keep enjoying them. I'm going to keep doing them. So, yeah. One of the guys was on earlier telling us about his B150 that he got through you, which is the Ford F-150 version of a station wagon or something like that. It was. Sounded like a cool truck. So what live is Mex in an unfinished project buff Dell camper? Okay, don't know that one. I'll have to go and have a look. Oh, Snow Crusher, get advice for Barracuda, get them back, pour lacquer thinner down the back of their pants. Oh, damn. Yeah, that'd make it, that seems fair, really. Yeah, that kind of makes me cringe just thinking about it. Ooh. Buff and Kim's. Good grief. Barracuda, one of those friends also pressed the end of a hot light bulb into my neck and branded me. Yeah, you definitely need to choose your friends better, man. Danny Boyd. I'll fight back through the back of my pants with methane. Yeah, you've got a fairly explosive mixture there, bud. Yeah, you might accelerate out of the room at a great rate. Dick Farley, one time when I was teaching my class at school, okay, got hit square in the eyes with lacquer thinners, went blind for a minute. I'll bet it scared you, mate. I'll bet it did. I'll bet it did. Mexican Spec, you got 40 of them on a list that are available? Wow. Chris Freemason, no joke, I work for Vision Scientists. Okay, that'd be cool. Some of the pics I've seen, the light damage would make you want to wear safety glasses 24/7. Yeah, I know. I'm guilty of pushing my luck with safety. I tend to just use these as safety glasses, and yeah, I've had a few little bits of metal taken out of my eyes over the years. I know I pushed my luck a bit there, but I've got that cool kind of Darth Vader face mask, which I wear if I'm really, really showering myself with sparks, which sometimes you don't, you don't have an option. Sometimes it's just the way it is. Mexican speak. Yeah, I agree with you, bud. Yeah, absolutely. They are not friends. Derek Deberjack, brake fluid is nice too. Well, yeah. Okay, 99 2001 Ram Mexican spec. Quite a few people asking for 99 2001 Ram charges, so I keep up on them. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Good on you, man. You're making an honest living, so there's a lot to be said for that. Danny Boyd, that's true, yeah. They safety glasses can pull shit under them. Yeah, that Darth Vader kind of mask thing that I've got is that's goggles and then the face shield that comes down here. That's pretty cool. Curtis Randolph, I don't see your email address online, Kiwi. Should I message you through the shop website? Yeah, you can message me through the shop website. I'd like to tell you about the road. It's not far from me. Okay. Message through the shop website. That'd be fine. If there's a phone number there, if you find the phone number, that's my cell phone. So you can text me or phone me on that as well. Barracuda, who learned to make sure I had no paint stripper on my hands when I go for a tinkle. God damn. Yeah, that doesn't bear thinking about, does it? Mexican speak. Thank you, Kia. I'm sure you'll buy a Mexican car sooner or later. You never know, mate. You never know. You never know. Johnny. Yep. Yeah, been there, done that, watching shards of metal falling on me, thinking I should really put on safety glasses. Of course you didn't. Yeah, you and me both. It's not a very smart bet, really, when you think, like if you think about it. But, yeah. You get away with it for so long, I guess we just got to hope that we continue to get away with it. Danny Boyd goggles fit over my readers too. Yeah, that mask I've got fits over these. It goes over there quite nicely, but when you take it off, the glasses stick in them, and the little rubber surround around the goggles catches these. So you take that off, and your glasses go, and then, Jesus, you can't see a freaking thing. So, but yeah, it's all part of the fun. Mexican spec. Both of them are both of the manuals are factory air. That's nice. Factory air demands some extra money these days. People look for factory air cars. They're worth paying a bit extra for. What's on the to be? Kiwi, I've seen generic electric AC kits on eBay for as little as $400. I know KV at enter in the amp drawer is at least 75. That's a lot of amps. That's a lot of amps. You're going to need you're going to need a 150 amp alternator because if you got there's some basic math. If you've got an 80 amp alternator, you're going to need more than 5 amps to run the rest of it, and you also need an alternator that's running at maybe 70% capacity, 60% better. So 75, another 25 for the rest of the car, you're at 100. amps draw to run the car, and then so you need at least 150 amp minimum, and then the wiring to back it up. I'm amazed at how many these alternator upgrades I see with little light gauge wiring, and if you're going to try and stuff 150 amps down a cable, it needs to be thick. You can't, just like a hose, you can't run gallons of water down a half-inch hose. You need a bigger hose. Oh, Mexican spec. Okay. Keep in mind, Kiwi, the older Mexican cars have no smog stuff. It was all engine and power. That's a very good point, actually. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, that's a very good point. And that smog stuff sucks. Eric Devajak, Shenandoah Valley in Virginia is a nice vacation. They have some really cool car collections in the caves. Really? Huh. That sounds different. Huh. Yeah, Mexican spec. Just sold an 82 Ford B150 Carol. It had no seat belts from the factory. And it came with points. Good grief, really? No seat belts. Wow. Yeah, it was just a whole different market down there, wasn't it? A whole different market. No seat belts. Wow, that's wild. Yeah, like 66 Mustang had seat belt. Well, had seat point mounts. Well, I think the seat belt was an option, but 65 Mustangs didn't have rear seat belt provision, to mount them, but 66 did. That was kind of when that was going on. But an 82 with no seat belts. Wow. Long Island Mopars. Well, thanks for the email, brother. I'll be checking that later. Your mileage may vary. That's funny. Chris Freeman's better foggy glasses and foggy corny as well. That's true. Yeah, last time I had a piece of metal in my eye and I went and got it out. The optician guy, I was looking in my eye and he says, "You've done this before, haven't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, how do you know?" And he goes, "You can see the scars on your cornea." And I'm like, "Ooh, really? This cornea has scars?" Yeah. So apparently when you do get a little bit of metal in that they got to scrape out or pick out with a little needle, that leaves a scar. Well, that can't be good for your vision. Yeah, when I kind of found that out, that it was leaving scars, I started to take a little bit more care and use protective glasses a little more. No electronic ignition until 85 or 86 on Ford trucks. Wow. Yeah, as Josh says, that's pretty primitive. It kind of is, but I guess, I guess they were a little more cost conscious down in Mexico. I mean, Mexico's back in the 80s was not like a super rich country, was it? It's probably, I don't know. I don't know whether it's a rich country now or not, to be honest. Johnny C, amazing how many young kids removed every AC component because it slowed them down. So many classics ended up that way. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, what's that? Mexican spec. Kiwi, you know about the Mexican Ford 302, right? Yeah, people say the block is stronger. Supposedly, yeah. Yeah, I have heard that. I don't have any reason to believe that's true. Not sure why they made it stronger. Whether they was just more cast iron in it, or whether it was a different type of cast iron. I've never got into why. Yeah, they definitely say it's stronger, but I'm not sure why that is. What they did to it, the different, whether it was a different casting or just a different material in the casting. Yeah, EPA couldn't reach into Mexico. I'm sure they thought about it. Mexican speak with the hard sell to Kiwi tonight. That's all right. It's all good. Tanny Boyd, most popular mod in my high school parking lot was a removed AC compressor under the hood. Good grief, really? Huh. Mexican speak, the truck I sold cost more than $1 million pesos in December 82. That was over 15K US dollars. Not a cheap truck. No, not a cheap truck. Higher nickel content. Okay, that's on the block, I would assume you're talking about. That makes sense. Yep. Johnny, I'm being tempted to remove my AC off my Cougar since it doesn't work anyway. Everyone tells me not to. Everyone's right, mate. No, don't remove it. Yeah, convert it to R134. You get that AC working, and you'll be running it 9 months of the year. Trust me. You get it running, and you'll love it. You'll wonder how you did without it. That old Falcon that I just bought recently, that's got AC in it that works, and it's oh god, it's so nice to get in at the end of a hot day and just have blow some air on you while in an old car. It's awesome. So yeah, John, don't get rid of it, fix it. Barracuda, New Zealand used to be one of the wealthiest countries in the world. Yeah, not so much anymore, huh? I just had my in-laws over here and for a few weeks, and they were, telling that live in New Zealand, and they don't paint a tremendous picture of New Zealand at the moment, I got to say. Yeah, but I'll see for myself, I guess, in December. So. Dickie Farley, I wonder if the Mexican 302 had higher nickel content because of the warmer climate. Why would the warmer climate play a role in that? And that's a genuine question. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just curious as to why. Chris Freemason, Mexican spec, can't fault you there, but you got to admit a pacer with a VR6 could be quite the sleeper. Ha! Yes, it would. Hang on, something's going on here. Here we go. Let me get rid of that. Hoss Cartwright. Hi there, seeing you with UTG. Good to see you on your own channel. Tony smokes too much. Yeah, that was he got a bit Tony, yeah, that was hard. I would I'd get home and have to shower. Because I could just, it was all, the smell of it was all in my hair and clothes. And I mean, you get your clothes off at the end of the day, but still smell like cigarettes. I had to shower. It got better when Dr. Art joined us, and there was the three of us on there. Tony cut down his smoking a lot then because Dr. Art didn't like it either. So to be fair to Tony, he did cut it back quite a bit, but it's I've never ever smoked, and it's not something it's not a pleasant smell at all. But scrolled up too far. Mexican speak. I'm glad the truck had points. It failed at the worst spot on the highway on the way back, and I was able to get it going again to run better than before. Well, there you go. MS Katie? Catchy? A bit late. Yeah, a little late, mate. We've been nearly 2 hours. It's 8:59. Wow, that's gone really fast. Mate, you kind of just got here in time to hear the goodbyes. But oh well. I'm going to do it again next Tuesday, and yeah, so come back then. But yeah, in the meantime, here we all are. Yeah, I got the Long Island Mopars. I got the AC working on my 74 Charger for a few months last summer. It has a slow leak. Yeah, that sucks. But isn't it nice to have that AC? Danny Boyd, I want to put a 93, 97 Corolla HVAC box in my 77 150 and controlling it with the truck's original control head. Just need to adapt the cables. That's interesting. So why a 93, 97 Corolla? Is that a particularly, like, what's the deal with that, or is it just one you happen to have? Barracuda, you'd have a fat wallet with 1,000,000 pesos in it, wouldn't you? Yeah, well, I don't think it would be 1,000,000 1 peso notes. Yeah, somehow. The water or the women. Snow Crusher, how come all the YouTube car channels that I watch have moved to Tennessee? Is it the water or the women? Oh, it's definitely the women, mate. Definitely the women. It's not the water, so it must be the women. Mexican speak Barracuda, we have $500 and $1,000 bills, or $1,000, 1,000 pesos. Wow, 1.1 million pesos with tax included. Oh, well, that's a good deal. Hang on here. Let me just see what I missed here somewhere. No, okay. Josh Hoshman. I wish he would quit the cigarettes as well. Yeah. Yeah, I don't see that happening. Chris McRae, just subscribe. Thank you, sir. Tennessee is the highest ROI in the country. Really? Okay, I wonder how they worked that out. Long Island Mopar, the AC when it worked sapped about 20 horsepower from my 318. Yeah, those Mopar compressors were like big and power hungry, weren't they? That is a drawback. Just put a like a Sandon compressor on it. That's all it needs. I've heard about people using those Mopar compressors to actually work as an air compressor. Like just run it the same way, but they'll run it to use their compressed air for their airbags and stuff like that because it pumps a lot of air. Danny Boyd, 93, 97 Corolla uses a control head with levers and cables like the Ford heater. Okay. Late Corollas use rotary control knob head. Okay. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that's a good little hot rod move then, isn't it? Making something out of something else work. Huh. Beagle Bob, have you made any progress on the old fire truck? Mate, that whole deal just went stone cold. I put in an estimate for them because they wanted an estimate, and they said it wouldn't be a problem. And I just heard nothing from them. They just ghosted me. I'm guessing that maybe because they had a little piece on the news around the time that they contacted me, saying it was a little news story saying that they couldn't find anyone to work on it, and if anyone knows someone that can work on it, I wonder if someone stepped up and said, yeah, bring it over and we'll fix it for free or something like that. Yeah, and good on them if they did. That's fine. But yeah, they certainly didn't let me know, which was a little disappointing. But you know, it is what it is. But no, that's gone, and I don't think I'll be seeing it in honesty unless whoever fixes it doesn't fix it well. You know, who knows? I don't know. But you know, I've got so much to do. I'm not going to chase them for it. In all honesty. MS catchy lead lining anyone Kiwi. My old XR had PB lining with a rear window curved to the quarter. Not sure what you're talking about there, but to be honest. Headlining anyone? Does it mean lead lining or headlining? My old XR had. Not sure what you're asking there, bud. The rear window curved to the quarter. I don't know. I'm not sure what you're saying. Well, guys, we're done. We're 2 hours and 6 minutes, and yeah, I'm fading fast. I got to tell you. So we might wrap it up for the night. Thanks so much for joining me, for all the questions. It's been fun. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to do it again. I'll be here again next week. So Snow Crusher, yes, that's the American Graffiti 58 beside me. Yep, good spotting. All right, well, yeah. Hey, thanks for all of it. To the guys who I didn't get to your questions, I'm sorry. You know, sometimes they just scroll up the screen too fast, and I'm kind of having to call it a day now. So some of you, I'm afraid, I haven't been able to answer. But come back next week, ask it again. We'll try and get it straightened out for you. So in the meantime, have a great week, and see you next Tuesday. All right, guys, take it easy. Thanks again. Have a good one.